During the 90s, speed was all the rage. Everybody and their mother wanted to buy a car to go fast, and this is why cars like the McLaren F1 will never be topped. It broke the top speed barrier for a naturally aspirated car, and still to this day has not been beat for a naturally aspirated car. And since most cars are going electric, or at the very least forced induction, I think it's safe to say it never will be beat. But what about us normal folks who can't afford a McLaren F1? Do we get to go fast? Well, thanks to BMW in 1995, the answer is yes. My name is Mark Roden, and this is what makes the BMW E39 so great. The fourth generation BMW 5 Series, which goes by the chassis code E39, was built with one thing in mind: to go fast. You see, up until this point, BMW had already kind of made a name for themselves. They had legendary cars like the M3 E30, M1 Pro Car, 3.0 CSL, and they even technically built the motor for the legendary McLaren F1, which will obviously go down in history as some of the best engineering to ever come from Germany. But people always forget about the little guys. It's like how most car guys subscribe to Donut Media on YouTube, but over 80% of you guys watching this video aren't subscribed. I'm just putting it out there, don't feel any pressure. But yes, BMW had a nice lineup going into 1995, but those are definitely not the only cars we should be talking about from the wonderful Bavarians. After the success of the E34 5 Series, BMW realized it was time to move on. They needed to make the next generation of 5 Series, but they wanted to make it with a bang energy drink. They wanted the entire world to have a chance to experience going way too fast for public roads and watching that dotted white line turn into a connected white line.
There's a point, 7,000 RPM, where everything fades.
When the car originally released in 1995, I'll be the first to admit it was nothing super special. The highest trim level you could get at the time was the 540i and not the M5 like they had just made with the E34. But even the base models of the E39 were something to write home about. The 540i came with a massive 4.4 liter V8, which was huge to stuff into a sedan that only weighed 4,000 pounds. For reference, their main competition at the time, Mercedes, was making cars that were weighing in at 4,700 pounds. Pretty big difference there. The motor managed to produce 289 horsepower all the way back in 1995, bro. That's pretty damn insane. My 350Z makes 286 horsepower as well, but it was made in 2003, and that thing feels fast today in 2023. Imagine buying that, but back when the world wasn't getting all their adrenaline through like Instagram posts. And do you want to know the best part of this car? Nowadays, you can buy one for right around the $5,000 mark in both sedan or wagon form, with all 289 horsepower going straight to the back wheels.
Okay, it's $5,000. The bottom is rusted out. None of the electronics work. It leaks oil.
Shut up and take my money!
Now, yes, if you're boring or have responsibilities, then they made more reliable models because obviously the V8 powered German sedan was not going to be that reliable. In 1995, they had the 540i, 528i, 523i, and even the 520i, each one being slower but better on gas and reliability than the last. The 528i, my bad, came with the same motor they were putting in the 328i at the time, a 2.8 liter inline 6, making a very respectable 193 horsepower. The 523i was a little bit slower, coming with a 2.5 liter inline 6, making only 170 horsepower, but that's still pretty good. And then of course the 520i was the slowest, but also the cheapest, with just a measly 2 liter inline 6, making only 150 horsepower. Keep in mind, all these cars were rear wheel drive as well, so it was still fun to drive even if it did only come with 150 horsepower. Oh, and remember how I said the car weighed 4,000 pounds? Yeah, well, that was only with the 540i. Obviously, since the others had smaller engines, the car weighed a lot less. The 520i, for example, weighed in at only 3,700 pounds, which can definitely be very fun. Now, I'm not saying it will be more fun than the V8, but if you're really on a strict budget or you don't want to take the risk with the V8, you still had plenty of options to make the cops in your town hate you.
Big dog, we got a situation here. I'm gonna need some backup.
In 1996, they decided to add another version of the car to the lineup, the 535i, which once again was powered by a V8, but this time slightly smaller. A 3.5-liter V8 that made 235 horsepower was now an option when going to buy your BMW. But let's get to the reason why you clicked on this video. The saving grace to the E39. A collection of the past 20 years of BMW's engineering all thrown into one four-door package. The fastest sedan in the world, the wonderful BMW M5 E39. No, I did not misspeak there. When this car came out in 1998, along with a bunch of updates to the older models, it was the fastest sedan in the world with a top speed of 190 miles per hour. That is insane, bro. In 1998, 2 years before the world thought that we were going to be in an apocalypse because the computers would shut down, BMW made a four-door car reach 190 miles per hour. Let's think about that for just one pubic hair of a second. The Ferrari F40, one of the best cars of all time, and certainly one of the best Ferraris of all time, right? Well, it was only 11 miles per hour faster than this car. What about the Lambo of the time, the wonderful Diablo? Well, that only reached 200 miles per hour at its peak, which is again only 10 miles per hour faster than this. But I know what you're thinking. Mark, the Americans have always been the top speed demons. What about them? What about the old burger-eating Americans? Well, the 1998 Corvette, which was a C5, was actually 15 miles per hour slower at 175 miles per hour, and the Dodge Viper only reached 180 miles per hour, meaning it's 10 miles per hour slower than a four-door sedan made by BMW. I mean, I don't think people understand how unhealthy that is, man. If you were a dad in the 90s, you could have bought a car to bring the kids to school in, and then on the way home, gap a damn Dodge Viper. Completely stock. You know mods, you could gap a Dodge Viper. That's wild. The way that the M5 E39 did this was simple, really. A whole lot of horsepower. The car came with a 5-liter V8, making a nice 400 horsepower going to the rear wheels. And remember, this car only weighed 4,000 pounds. It also had 369 foot-pounds of torque, so it definitely didn't have trouble getting off the line either. It was wicked fast, but sadly, every car has one downside, and this one was no exception. When BMW gets a little creative, they usually do something called, how do I say this? Self-sabotage. They always put these freaking massive motors that make crazy power in a sedan, but then they don't worry about making it actually run. They think they can afford to have supercar reliability in a $50,000 sedan, and it usually just doesn't work out. Just look at the M5 E60 or the M6 E63. Both amazing cars when they run. So guess what happened to the E39? Absolutely nothing, bro. This car is one of the most reliable BMW M cars of all time. You thought I was gonna freaking be like, oh yeah, it's unreliable. No, everybody out there, it truly is a miracle. They made this car as reliable as it was. Obviously, there wasn't many review websites back in the 90s, so I do have to go off of people's personal experience with the car, but everyone I can see says that the car was very reliable for them, and they didn't feel like they were driving a supercar that they had to be careful with all the time. The problem with the E39, however, comes in a different form. It's handling. Yeah, I mean, it turns out when you make a long wheelbase sedan that weighs 4,000 pounds and has 369 foot-pounds of torque, it kind of handles corners a little bit poorly. And due to this, BMW never really entered the M5 E39 into any sort of motorsports. Besides backyard builds and stuff like that, the only recorded form of motorsports I saw a professional team enter the M5 into was the Italian Superstars series, which I've never even heard of before, to be honest. So obviously it makes sense why most people don't talk about this car car when bringing up legendary BMWs anymore. I mean, I can't blame them though. They had the M3 at the time, which is what they entered into all of the motorsports, and it was doing great. Why even take the risk of entering the M5 and ruining your image in motorsports? They already proved themselves anyway when the car reached 190 miles per hour. Now I know this last little section might seem like the car hit a nice 360 no scope on me, so I'm upset with it, but that's not the case. First of all, the car can't play Call of Duty, that's impossible, but also this car was truly insane. Sure, it didn't have the best lap times out there, but that's not why you bought the M5. If you wanted good lap times, you bought the M3. This was for the guy with an adrenaline addiction, the highway warrior, the guy who wanted to show up to the party in style and 30 minutes early. Even the base models are still cars worth making a whole entire video over. I mean, 286 horsepower in the 540i in 1995 is insane, and you can very easily get that horsepower number up if you wanted to. The E39 BMW truly is one of the best sedans of the 90s, and in my opinion, one of the best sedans of all time. And that, my friends, is what makes it so great. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's What Makes It Great on the BMW E39. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what makes it great that you would like to see. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I love each and every one of you. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.